Have you ever stood in the middle of a crowded city, surrounded by thousands of people, perhaps holding a device that connects you to billions more, and yet felt completely, utterly alone? It is the great paradox of our time. We have engineered a world of absolute comfort. We have unlimited entertainment, food delivered to our doors without ever having to hunt or harvest, and instant validation at the tap of a screen. Yet, if you look at the data, we are in the middle of a global epidemic. Rates of anxiety, burnout, loneliness, and this lingering sense of existential emptiness are rising everywhere. Why is it that as our lives get physically easier, they seem to get psychologically harder?
That is the exact question we have to ask if we want to understand the modern human condition. And the answer lies deeply embedded in our biology. You see, the human brain simply did not evolve for this kind of endless, frictionless stimulation. It evolved for something entirely different. It evolved for the tribe. It evolved for shared struggle, for contribution, and for a deep, undeniable sense of purpose. What we have done with modern civilization is accidentally sever ourselves from the very biological systems that historically gave our lives meaning.
It really feels like we are running ancient software on modern hardware and the system is crashing. Let's unpack that tribal brain concept. Because for the vast majority of human history, being an isolated individual wasn't just lonely, it was a death sentence. Survival meant you had to cooperate.
Exactly. You couldn't survive a harsh winter alone. You couldn't hunt large game alone. The human nervous system was forged inside highly cooperative environments. Your ancestors survived because they shared food, protected each other, and raised children collectively. Belonging wasn't some luxury or a weekend social club. It was a strict biological necessity. And because evolution is incredibly pragmatic, the brain built powerful neurochemical reward systems to ensure we stayed useful to the group.
So, feeling a sense of purpose isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a biological drive, much like hunger or thirst.
Very much so. When you look at neurochemicals like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and endogenous opioids, they all played massive roles in reinforcing communal identity and trust. The brain literally rewarded you for being useful.
I want to focus on oxytocin for a second because I think it gets vastly misunderstood. Pop culture calls it the love hormone or the cuddle chemical, which sounds a bit superficial. But biologically, it's carrying a much heavier load, isn't it?
It really is. Oxytocin is the biological glue of human survival. It regulates social bonding, emotional safety, attachment, and deep cooperation. But here is the critical catch that modern society misses. Those oxytocin pathways evolved to be triggered by real-world physical interaction. We are talking about eye contact, physical touch, shared labor, and shared physical presence. It does not respond to passive digital consumption.
Which implies that scrolling through a feed of faces on a screen doesn't trigger the same chemical release. We might think we are socializing, but chemically we are malnourished.
That is a brilliant way to put it. We are socially malnourished. The nervous system is sitting there, waiting for tribal engagement, waiting for the physiological signals of belonging. Instead, modern life feeds it a digital simulation.
And that digital simulation is incredibly seductive. It's not like technology eliminated our reward systems. It just hijacked them. It figured out the backdoor into our neurobiology.
It absolutely hijacked them. Social media platforms, for instance, are masterfully engineered to exploit ancient neurological pathways. They play on our deep-seated need for status, social comparison, and validation. When you get a notification, your brain gets a tiny, sharp spike of dopamine. You get a little fluctuation in serotonin based on how you perceive your social standing in that moment.
But it's a trap, right? Because it's stimulation without actual fulfillment. It feels like eating a giant bag of potato chips when you are starving. You get the crunch, you get the salt, your brain registers the action, but there is zero nutritional value. You are still starving.
A perfect analogy. It is neurological junk food. You are getting attention, but you aren't getting intimacy. You are getting validation, but you aren't getting meaning. The tragedy here is that over time, this creates a profound emotional contradiction. People are constantly engaged. Their eyes are darting, their thumbs are swiping, their brains are processing thousands of inputs an hour. Yet, they feel entirely empty.
Which brings us to a really uncomfortable truth about modern civilization. We spent thousands of years trying to eliminate struggle. We built houses with climate control, we eradicated predators, we created algorithms to do our thinking. And yet, as comfort peaked, our sense of meaning plummeted. Why does extreme comfort create existential despair?
Because human psychology was fundamentally built around challenge. Historically, you woke up and you had problems to solve. You had to exert physical effort, you had to cooperate with your neighbors, your behavior was driven by a mission survival. Modern hypercomfort has stripped away those immediate survival pressures, but the nervous system hasn't changed. It still craves significance, it still wants a mountain to climb. Without a meaningful struggle, many people lose their psychological orientation.
So, without a meaningful struggle, the brain essentially turns on itself. We don't just want pleasure, we actually need a purpose to anchor us.
Exactly. Pleasure is fleeting. It rarely creates lasting fulfillment. Purpose is what organizes human behavior around something larger than immediate gratification. Neuroscience is increasingly showing us that having a sense of meaning isn't just a nice to have, it is the very thing that stabilizes our emotional resilience.
I see this playing out so vividly in the crisis of identity we are witnessing today, especially among younger generations. There seems to be this massive confusion about what our roles are and how we are supposed to contribute to the world.
It is a very real crisis. Think about how identity used to be formed. It emerged naturally through family responsibility, through your role in a tight-knit community, through shared hardships. You knew who you were because you knew who relied on you. Today, individuals are thrown into this ocean of digital overstimulation and economic anxiety. They are constantly comparing their behind-the-scenes lives to the highlight reels of 8 billion other people.
It is no wonder we are seeing such skyrocketing rates of apathy and dopamine exhaustion. The nervous system is trying to locate a stable sense of meaning inside an environment of infinite distraction. It's an impossible task.
Absolutely. The brain is chronically overstimulated, but completely underfulfilled.
Let's pivot to the solution, or at least the biology of the solution. What actually happens inside the body and the brain when a human being reconnects with a genuine sense of purpose?
It is quite literally a physiological transformation. When you engage in mission-driven behavior, whether that's building something, teaching, helping others, or working toward a deeply held goal, it alters your motivation systems. It regulates your dopaminergic pathways in a sustained, healthy way. It even balances the autonomic nervous system.
So it changes our relationship with stress, because I've noticed that people often feel the most alive, not when they are lying on a beach doing nothing, but when they are in the middle of a really difficult but meaningful challenge.
Yes, exactly. Humans can tolerate an extraordinary amount of stress and even suffering if it feels meaningful. Purpose organizes our neurobiology. It changes how the brain interprets effort itself. The nervous system evolved for adaptive engagement with life, not for passive consumption.
So the ultimate question, how do we as modern humans living in concrete jungles with smartphones glued to our hands reclaim this biological purpose? We can't exactly go back to hunting and gathering in the woods.
No, we can't, and we don't need to. The answer isn't about running away from the modern world. It's about intentional reconnection within it. We don't heal through more digital optimization or life hacking apps. We heal through real human relationships. We need physical community. We need to share goals and engage in meaningful work alongside others. We need movement, exposure to nature, and contribution beyond our own self-interest. The nervous system recalibrates through authentic engagement.
It sounds like we need to shift our entire internal narrative. Maybe the healing starts when we stop waking up and asking, how can I be entertained today? And start asking, how can I be useful today?
That is beautifully said. How can I be useful? Because for our ancestors, usefulness guaranteed survival. And deep inside your brain, beneath the layers of modern conditioning, that ancient circuitry is still there, waiting to be activated.
Which feels incredibly urgent right now, especially as we stand on the edge of the artificial intelligence revolution. As AI and automation accelerate, and machines become capable of doing more and more of our tasks, this question of human purpose is going to become the central issue of our time.
I completely agree. The greatest challenge of the future will not be technological, It will be existential. If machines can do everything, what is the human for? We need meaning, we need agency, we need belonging and contribution. Because without those biological anchors, even a world of absolute abundance will feel entirely empty.
It is a profound realization. The modern world gave us unprecedented comfort, but comfort alone cannot nourish the soul. The human nervous system was never designed merely to consume life. It was designed to participate in it.
And perhaps true longevity isn't just about biological survival or extending our lifespan. It is about maintaining a meaningful engagement with existence itself. Because when you look at the science, purpose might just be one of the most powerful medicines the human brain has ever known.
This is OXYZEN Health Intelligence.